Hola, damas y caballeros, and welcome to another edition of the Bleed Los podcast. This week's podcast is presented by our partners at BetOnline. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports info, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. So if you head on over to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet, if you use our promo code, which is BELIEVE50, BLEAV50, you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Huge thanks to BetOnline. So we're going to start the show a little different this week. Roger has something to get off of his chest, and I'm actually curious to see what grievances Festivus has brought upon us this year. So go ahead, Roger.
So I've been thinking about this a lot for the last couple of weeks since we had our one of our last lives, and there's one that
Festivus one,
the one where Juan kind of just went off the rails and kind of he had some issues during that live.
I had defenders. I had people defending me on that show. By the way,
there's a lot of people that don't know why Juan feels this certain way. We always talk about 1985, but some people weren't even born yet. I mean,
I was not born in 1985. Yeah, I wasn't born.
So there's a lot of people that don't know what happened back then. So I'm going to kind of fill everybody in with what happened in 1985.
While in reading was sort of talking about walk him and pitch to that blank Van Slyke. That's what he just muttered in the dugout. I think it was a rhetorical question. Do I walk him and pitch to that so-and-so? He's not going to walk him. It is Jack Clark and Tom Niedenfuer going head-to-head, and the ball game on the line, and the crowd on its feet. One way or another, what a way to end. And now Socha's going out to the mound.
Well, they want to make sure of the signs. They got Ozzie Smith at second base, and obviously he was switching signs. Niedenfuer looked like he was going to pitch off the stretch. He was worried about McGee, and then he had a little bit of doubt in his mind as to what the signs were, and Socha's going to make them as simple as he possibly can because he's got enough to worry about with the two base runners and the batter without worrying about whether he gets the signs right. So make them
I'd
simple.
imagine what 8-year-old Juan right here is like freaking out.
Just so that we can cover
Is that how old you were, 1-8?
Ozzie Smith but Willie
I hadn't turned 8 yet, though. I hadn't turned 8. I was 7.
I'm not saying
Dang,
he's even
carrying this around for 40 years. Dang.
Yeah, I was close
One for 4.
to 8.
Jack hit into a force play. Hit a fly ball single to left. Flied to right on the first pitch and struck out. And he hits one to deep left field, and that one is gone.
Look at Pedro. Look what happened to Pedro right there. Did you see him throw his glove on the ground?
So that is the moment that is traumatized for Juan for 40 years.
Lasorda got the answer to his rhetorical
Kill the video, Roger. I saw Juan's soul leave his body. It just went.
Right? Why are you making him relive this? Are you okay, Juan? Take a deep
No.
breath.
No, he wants to just piss me off. He wants to piss me off on purpose.
No, actually, I'm here to help you, Juan. And there's somebody else here that wants to help you, and we're gonna bring him in right now. Hey, Tom, how's it going?
Hey, Juan. It still hasn't changed.
Oh, man. You know what? First of all, F you guys for doing this. F you guys. All right, Tom, you need to help me here. First of all, Tom, I need to preface this statement by saying I know I am completely illogical. Okay. There is a part of me who thinks rationally that doesn't blame you for any of this, that knows this isn't your fault. But there is 7-year-old me who saw one of my favorite players, Pedro Guerrero, throw his glove on the ground, and it's my first baseball memory. And that was the first experience where I realized things don't work out in the end. Like, your team doesn't win all the time.
That's what baseball is, competition. There's a winner and there's a loser.
Right.
Let me tell you something though. This will ease your mind a little for this year. If I was pitching now, and let's say we were facing the Yankees, okay?
Okay.
Would I come in and strike out Aaron Judge in the 7th and then have to face him again in the 9th?
That's true. How many? That's a good point, Tom. How many innings had you pitched in that game? Let our viewers know.
Well, let me put it this way. I struck out Jack Clark in the 7th inning with the bases loaded. No one remembers that. How many times does a closer face a guy twice?
Wow.
You know what, Tom? You totally sound like Lasorda right now. You sound like
I got a few other facts for you on this note card if you'd like.
Please.
Tom was in his third inning of work.
So people say, why didn't we walk Jack Clark? Okay.
Okay.
There's a left-handed batter on next. Have you ever seen a righty walk a righty to get to a left-handed hitter? Ever?
Not in today's game, no.
Okay. You want to know what Jack Clark was off me in his career? I looked this up. He was 5 for 22. He had 227 in his career off me.
Wow.
Okay, so we had Steve Howe, our great left-handed closer, was in the drug clink. Okay, so we didn't have him for that year.
Wait,
Tom, where's the empathy? It's a substance abuse problem.
No, I'm going to give you another fact. So we had Jerry Royce warming up in the bullpen, okay? So if I walk Jack Clark, I'm not going to face Andy Van Slyke. We're going to bring Jerry Royce in, okay? They have a pinch hitter named Brian Harper back in the day. If you look this one up, Brian Harper hit over 600 off of Jerry Royce in his career. So I think we had a better option of a guy hitting 227 off me than a guy hitting 600 off of Royce.
This is the greatest day of my life.
This is so awesome. This is
here's
awesome.
Another thing that'll make you feel much better for this year.
Coming, Tom. Keep it coming.
So the Dodger closer now, Kimbrel, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Okay, I threw 107 innings as a short reliever in 1985. My September ERA was over 7. So I was gassed by the time September came. My ERA for the whole season that year was still 2.7 for the whole season with an ERA of over 7. I'll guarantee you that Kimbrel, I threw 107 innings, has probably pitched half that amount this year. So he's not going to be a gassed reliever going into those situations.
Dang.
This is in my defense, Tom, I was 7, so I didn't do the deep dive that you just did, but I do want to thank you because this is the closure. This is the closure. These guys, everyone now has helped me. I am no longer trapped in 1985.
We see now there's the difference between you and me. If the Dodgers play the Cardinals, I'm still going to get bombarded by reporters calling me.
So
30
you know what?
years later.
Okay, so we had Langell on the show, and Langell told us a story that when they had the reunion of the 81 team.
Landrum.
No, Mark Langell,
the
historian.
Oh, sure. Mark's a good buddy.
He told us this story that at the reunion of the 81 team, you were worried that when you came out on the field, you were going to get booed, and it was the opposite. They cheered you. How much of this?
I don't go quite that far.
No, so there were some boos. Were there some assholes like me there, Tom, that were booing you?
Some 7-year-olds that have grown up, exactly.
So
this is incredible.
The people from the Cardinals literally still call you to talk about this?
No, from the nationwide sports reporters. If we play the Cardinals, they will still bring it up to this day. Like no other big home runs have ever happened. Call frickin' Eckersley. See how that one goes.
Or Mitch Williams, right? Mitch Williams and Joe Carter.
My buddy Joe Carter, exactly.
Or who gave up the bomb to Matt Stairs?
Oh, it was Broxton.
Broxton, thank you.
Yeah, that ball still hasn't landed.
I know. I was just like, was it Broxton? I'm pretty sure it was. But by the way, Craig Kimbrel this year has only thrown 53 1/3.
So less than half of what I threw.
Less than half. So there you go, Juan.
I think he's going to be a little fresher.
I think he'll be all right. Also, I mean, my takeaway from this though.
The truth is, I'm a little concerned. Postseason's a different ball game than a regular season.
Yeah.
And if they face the Mets, it's best starting pitcher against best starting pitcher. We don't have Buehler, Gonsolin's out. They're going to have Scherzer. They're going to have DeGrom. It's a lot tougher matchup in postseason when you have ace against ace. The overall record doesn't mean quite as much. In '83, we beat the Phillies 11 out of 12. we were excited to play the Phillies. Steve Carlton threw a 1-0 shutout against us the first game. So when you get the ace going in the first game, it's a huge difference.
You and Juan sound alike. Like you guys.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. You guys are all quick to be like, oh, Tom got you. Look at that throwing facts. Tom says the exact same thing that I say about the Mets. And I'm the Prince of Darkness. But when it comes out of Tom's mouth, it's okay.
But
I'm just
Tom's
saying
defense,
I'm just saying the postseason is you can't judge regular season records going into the postseason.
but
That's what I said, Tom.
Juan, but Tom is also talking from firsthand experience because he pitched in the game.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, yes, he's a better athlete than all of us combined. That's not. We just assume that the audience knows this. Look, we're just a bunch of people who sit here and watch the game and second guess and do all that stuff. But I keep telling you guys, post-traumatic stress disorder is real. And that 1985, and I'm telling you, it's my first memory. It's the first time it came to me that there are no happy endings,
So
that
we
my
took 2
team
steps
doesn't
back.
win.
So we took 2 steps back.
Juan, let me put it a different way. Let's say, which we all wish would have happened, Jack Clark pops out, okay?
Yeah.
That was game 6, correct?
Yeah.
We're facing John Tudor, who won 23 games the next day.
Yeah, you guys are going to win. You're going to win because you forced the game 7, Tom. It changes everything.
Yeah. And your closer had thrown 50 pitches and won't be available the next day.
But it's a different era, Tom. That's when men were men. Over there, you guys played real baseball, not whatever these guys are playing.
I told
mental
you, know what,
gymnastics
everyone
are
in my era
incredible.
really struggles to watch a game these days. It's changed that much.
I can imagine because I remember Gossage a while back always complaining about how and look, the guy who's in my fight club is Tony La Russa. He's the one who started all this shit.
The one-inning reliever?
Yeah, the 1-inning reliever. Because you're right. After that, it was just like, you guys would go 3 innings to get a save.
I remember we were in a pennant race. I don't know if it was 81, 83, or 85. But I pitched 4 days in a row. I went 3 innings, 2 innings, 2 innings, 3 innings for 4 days. And now if a guy throws 1 inning, 2 days in a row, they give him a day. I was out in Chicago last weekend doing something. I ran into Lee Smith. And we were talking how me, him, and Jeff Reardon back in the day were the 3 guys in the National League who were always getting the 3-inning saves back then.
No, I mean, Tom, really, seriously, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. I am for therapy. This is therapy, man, because he just laid it down to me because I didn't know those numbers that you had against Jack Clark. Like I knew, as you referred to the man struggling with his drug addiction being in the drug clique, but everybody uses how. Everybody always, you need to know this too, Tom. Everyone we talk to about this, every single person defends you. I'm the only asshole that comes into this illogical hatred that, just makes no sense. But everyone else has always said, Tom was out there because how could it be out there? It was like you literally took one for the team.
You know what? Obviously, Steve, God rest his soul and everything, but he had a problem with drugs. And if he didn't run into that problem, besides winning in 81, I really believe we'd have won at least 1 more, if not 2 more, if we would have had me, him, and Dave Stewart in the bullpen at the same time.
So let me ask you that, Tom. I mean, a lot of people are saying, that this Dodgers group it's like a dynasty. However, they only have 1 World Series to show for it. I mean, does that still make them a dynasty, even though they just won 1?
I wouldn't say they're a dynasty by any means. I mean, I think a dynasty is the New England Patriots, the New York Yankees in their prime, with Mariano Rivera. But just getting to the playoffs with expanded playoffs the way they are now, I don't find that as any dynasty, just getting to the playoffs.
So like your team, then the teams, I mean, because it goes back into the late 70s too, when they had that run against the Yankees and then in 81, finally getting over the hump. If the Dodgers would have won in 83 or in any of those other years, if they would have won in 85, if they would have beat the Royals, if they would have gotten there, I mean, is that team look differently? Because I still look at those Dodgers 80s teams as like, those are really good teams. You go from the 60s to that 80s team.
Well, if you look at their prime, I mean, I got there in 81, but if you look at their prime with Garvey, Say, and all those guys, Bake, losing to the Yankees in 77 and 78, then winning in 81, being in the playoffs 83, 85. I mean, that's a pretty darn good run there. And like I said, if we could have mixed in another win or two out of that thing, that would have been pretty close to a dynasty. But like I say, just making the playoffs, heck, what are there, 8 teams, 7 teams in each league this year making the playoffs?
Yeah.
I don't even understand what the format is this year with 3 wild.
So, Tom, in all seriousness, how much grief have you gotten since '85? Like,
not as much as Bill Buckner.
Oh, right. so '86, you became a Bill Buckner fan? Is that what you're like? Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You know what? A lot of the fans just look at the fact of what happened. It's like a friend of mine, Gary Anderson, who's a field goal kicker for the Vikings.
Yeah.
He made 28 or 35 field goals in a row, and he missed one in the playoffs, and they lost. Field goal kickers and relievers are a lot the same. You're expected to do the job every time, and if you miss, it's going to be glorified and magnified more than it really is. But Juan, you could not have been a reliever because you got to learn to let things go for the next day.
I mean, it's true, right? It's like everyone says that. You got to have a short memory. But, I mean, there's a lot of mental aspects to this game, right? Like the guys that get the yips, like when Sachs couldn't throw to first base, right?
Yeah, I get on the mound watching that. That was fun. That's the same year I think we tried Guerrero at third, too. That was a good option. You heard about that famous meeting, didn't you, back in the day?
No. Tell us. We want to hear that.
Tommy has a meeting. And he says, we have the best pitching. He says, guys, we have the best pitching staff in the league. We just got to make the routine plays. He says, Pete, what are you thinking down there at third? He says, you got to look at the big Dodger in the sky and say, please, God, let him hit the ball to me. And Pete goes, Tommy, I cannot lie. He says, I look up into the sky and I say, please, God, don't let him hit the ball to me. And we're just done. Tommy goes, Pete, tell me that's not all you're thinking. He goes, nope. He says, I say, don't let him hit it to Sachs either.
I love it.
I want to thank you, Tom, for being a good sport about letting the guy who has you in a fight club challenge you face to face.
He's out of my fight club now. No, in all seriousness, I'm being dead serious right now.
Bro.
This was a very cathartic experice for me.
All I
Because
know is you'll get the last laugh. If the Dodgers happen to play the Cardinals, you can imagine what my phone's going to be doing.
I'm telling you this, if they win, I'm getting my Niedenfuer throwback jersey, and I'm going to go around and I'm going to throw all those facts that you just gave me right now.
to everyone and anyone that'll listen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Actually,
Tom, thanks.
I'm sorry. If and when the Dodgers play the Cards, will you come back on with us and join us, please? You're such a good sport, and you
It's
have
a safe
all
space. We promise.
No video highlights. though.
No more video highlights.
Yeah, Tom. I'm not the asshole that went ahead and showed that before you.
Yeah,
I still see those damn Clydesdales running around Busch Stadium out there.
Yeah, we'd love to spend more time with you on another occasion, Tom, if you're open to it.
Yeah, if you're open to it, we'd love to have you back. No Clydesdales.
All right, you got my number. Keep in touch.
We'll do,
All right,
Tom.
thanks,
Thank you
Tom.
again. Tom
Appreciate it.
Niedenfuer, everyone.
Thanks,
Bravo. Bravo,
Thank
Tom.
you.
There you go, Juan. That was a cathartic
So
experience.
you feel better now, Juan?
Surprised?
No, I was very sorry. I was not expecting that, but I didn't know anything that he just said about his numbers versus Jack Clark, because I'm telling you, years ago when Tommy, God rest his soul, he was still alive. He was taking calls, and they called him and they're like, Tommy, I love you. Why'd you pitch to Jack Clark? And Tommy lost his shit, right? Like, and this was like 20, who knows how many years later. And Tommy still was so pissed that people second guessed his decision. But I'm sure Tommy had those numbers. Tommy knew that, hey, he doesn't hit Niedenfuer. And you hear it in that video. He's like, I'm not going to pitch the fucking Van Slyke.
Well, and you know who had those numbers too, and you should have had him this entire time, bros. Tom Niedenfuer. Tom Niedenfuer had him, and you just eat. Revenge is a best dish served cold, my friend, and he got you good.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think you guys are right. I think it's time to bury the hatchet. It is not 1985.
Well, I hope you bury it because I want him to come back.
But if I do see Jack Clark, fuck you. And then and Ozzie Smith doesn't get away with it either, that motherfucker. So, anyways.
Anyway, speaking of Jack Clark, I didn't expect there to be as much Jack Clark talk today, But Roger, you got to do the bit, like, or whoever has the music has to do the bit.
Oh, that is true. You know,
We have a bit.
we got to be committed to the bit.
We
here.
do have to commit. I mean, this is the production quality, ladies and gentlemen, of the Bleed List podcast. There we go.
There we go. Somebody unexpectedly just showed on.
I wonder who it could be. It's not Jack Clark, though. We just motherfucked Jack Clark left and right. So it's not Jack Clark.
Let's see.
Let's see who this is.
And stopping by the Carne Asada for a few minutes. Friend of the Carne Asada, one of the realest of the reals, Polo Ascencio, Spanish play-by-play guy for, play-by-play guy for the St. Louis Cardinals who are coming to town. Polo, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien. Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. It all depends where you're at, what you're looking at. And I'm in Tijuana, so this is esta es una carne asada de aneta, compas. Tráiganse el norteño, las cartablancas, aquí afuera está el asador que hemos usado for 20 years here en la casa de mi mamá en Tijuana, Mexico. So, hey, I'm happy to be with you guys. And first of all, before we go on, I want to congratulate all of you and Roger and Aisha that, she's not here today. But what you guys are doing, man, I mean, from the last time that I talked to you to now, you guys you are part of this now. Let me tell you something that sometimes I have trouble like grasping. You guys belong. You're not those guys that, they have a podcast, con el Roger que vendía camisas ahí en el swap meet, ahí en el Santa Fe Springs y todo eso. No. You guys belong. Congratulations. And you're welcome, because I know I was a big part of that. So you're welcome.
Eso mero. Gracias, Polo. Gracias.
Gracias for bringing us along, for letting us tag along.
That's all I can do.
I wanted to ask you something. Obviously, Albert Pujols is about to have a historical moment in what I think is the most fitting way of being a Cardinal again, right? But I wanted to ask you something because I know you're a baseball savant, historian, the whole thing. Do you think there's ever going to be another guy that hits 700 home runs again?
I don't see it. Okay, you talk about in general, right? In general, I really don't see it because who's there? Aaron Judge. It took him like 6 years to actually get to whatever he's doing this season. Is he going to do it next season? We don't know, right? Mike Trout. Oh, the next big thing. Hey, the guy is a stud when he's healthy, but when is he healthy? Bryce Harper. I mean, you can look at Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and especially where he plays in Toronto. The ball flies there. The ball flies. So if he stays, he could be that guy. It's going to be very hard. I am going to say in my lifetime, no, and I hope to live another 50 years at least. Well, that put me pinche bien viejito, but anyway. So, I say no. I say no, and especially, guys, let's not forget. I know he's there, right? He's almost there. He can taste it. A Latino, nacido en República Dominicana. I mean, he is going to be when he gets there, and I hope he does, because you know how baseball is. It's a little, it's fickle, fickle. A Latino, man, doing it not only for him, not only for his family, for Dominican Republic, but for all of us. And I mentioned that the other day on a really cool interview and a little a column that Katie Wu for The Athletic, she wrote. And when she asked me, hey, what would it be for you to do this? I'm like, it will be amazing because I will bring justice if I get to call it. I'll bring a little justice, and I will be thinking about all those great Latino players that played it 50, 60 years ago, going back to, Beto Avila, the Mexican-born Beto Avila back in the 50s, 60s with the Indians, and now the Guardians. Back then it was okay to say Indian. To Moisés Alou, Mateo Alou, the great Manny Mota that you guys love and I love, Julian Javier, who played for the Cardinals. He was the first Latino inducted into the Cardinals Hall of Fame this year, Julian Javier. And obviously you go on and on. Even Fernando Valenzuela, Rafael Furcal, numbers that people relate a little more in LA. The sacrifice of those people can be justified or can be celebrated when Albert does his 700 home runs. Not only the sacrifice of Albert Pujols, but all those Latinos. So, it's a big moment. I hope we see it. I hope I get to call it. And will we ever see 700 again? I doubt it.
No, and the main reason I brought it up is actively Miggy, I think, is the closest to the list, and he's 5. I think he's 5.
I looked at that. It's Miguel Cabrera and Nelson Cruz are the closest. And Nelson it was last time I checked, it was at 456. Miggy was at 506, I believe.
Yeah, 506. Yeah.
And then the one under was Robinson Cano, and Robinson Cano is pretty much done around here. And then from the active Latino players, the closest one, not even at 300 yet, Manny Machado. I know people in LA love Manny Machado. So he was, when I looked, he was at like 276, 279. So, and the other thing, guys, Manny Machado is in his 11th season at 29 years old. And he has about, let's just say 280, right?
Yeah.
Albert Pujols, at his 11th season, he was 31 at 445 home runs. At age 31, 10 years ago. I don't know what happened. I know what's in the water in Anaheim, but the guy in Anaheim, he just, I don't know, that Mickey Mouse stuff that they do down there. It just didn't help him. But just, put that into perspective. 11 seasons, 445. Manny Machado, 11 seasons, 280. And it basically 2 years difference. That's how amazing Albert was and still is.
And for Nelly, and for the sake of Nelly, he has 459 and he's 39. So I mean, it's not even close.
Real quick, Alonso, I because he wants to call Pujols' 700 home run. I think we have a preview of what it might sound like.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, babyface?
I like the fist pump there at the end.
I was going to hit the desk. And I'm like, this is the best part.
Yeah.
That is the best part for me of the whole video, the whole moment. Every time I see that video, first of all, on my dad, I didn't know they were recording this. So that day I did the game. I did a couple games by myself last week, and I didn't know, there will be like somebody from the office. They will come over and sit down. I'm like, you know what? Do it. That's fine. Sit here and be part of this. I don't care. And I didn't know they were recording this. There's been 2 times this year where somebody is in the booth recording when Albert is hitting and Albert hits a home run, and that's the second one. And I didn't know that was happening until later. The guy, Ben Boyd, he is our director of affiliates in St. Louis. He sent me the video. And then the guy next to me, we were playing the Reds. I forget his name. He's a former pitcher. He came in and he's like, dude, what an energy. Oh, my God. I could hear you screaming on the other side of the wall. I'm like, sorry. He's like, no. Keep going. Keep going. And that's pure energy, pure emotion. Pure happiness, not only, like I said, not only for him, obviously for the Cardinals fans in attendance and around the world, but for all the Latinos, man. I mean, we deserve this. We do. And I know that we're celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month, and sometimes it looks like it's a checkbox. Oh, okay, let's celebrate that so everybody stays quiet. But that's part of the whole celebration. And yeah, that was 698, bro. I mean, as I mentioned before, things have not changed. We're not doing many road games. Actually, this year we're doing the last 3 road games of the season. We're doing them because it's the last 3 games of, first of all, Yadier Molina, one of the greatest catchers that ever lived. Those are the last 3 games of his career, because playoffs don't really count unless you win the championship.
Uh-oh. We lost Polo.
That's what happens in Tijuana sometimes.
Sorry, but it's el cartel looking for money. I'm like, no, my bad. Hey, cartel people, I love you guys. So it's it was crazy. It was real. It comes from the heart. And another quote that I gave Katie Wu without even knowing, I said, it comes from the heart, and nothing. If it comes from the heart, nothing can beat it. And yeah, man, it's It's been a fun ride. I hope he hits one at Dodger Stadium for $699, and then he hits 700 in St. Louis when we close the season. So I get to call it. I'm being a little selfish here, so because I deserve it.
Yes, yes. Hey, so you mentioned it already, Polo. So La Máquina, I know everybody calls him La Máquina, but to us, he's always going to be El Tío. He is Tío Albert. And to me, I got to ask you this. It seemed when the Angels, you mentioned it earlier, who knows what's in the water in Anaheim, but it seems that when the Angels released him and he got to the Dodgers, he got rejuvenated. The way he finished off the season, I think it's right for him to go back to the Cardinals this year and finish his career with the Cardinals. To me, that it seems right. But what do you, for him, I get it. The perfect would be for him to hit one more home run at Dodger Stadium and get 700 in St. Louis. But have you ever talked to him about what happened last year? Was there something about the Dodgers organization that did rejuvenate it? Or is that just me being a homer and giving the Dodgers too much credit?
I haven't, and I've talked to Albert about a lot of things. I haven't, and one day I will. One day I will. Once the season is over and he comes back to San, my favorite part of Albert playing with the Cardinals this season is that he's going to come back to St. Louis. If he would have played with anybody else, it would have been hard for him to come back, as a Hall of Famer or whatever. But now that he's a Cardinal, it's going to be a lot easier for him to show up in spring training or whatever. So I will ask him. I will sit him down once. Right now, this is over because everywhere he goes, there's 50 people asking the same question over and over and over. And once this is done, and we can reflect, I will ask him for you guys, just for you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to segue into it's the Maestro's last season. All right. We've been trying to get his flowers the whole season. To me, I'm very disappointed. They haven't given him enough credit, I feel, this year. I know people say, oh, come on, Juan, they've done stuff for him. I'm like, dude, this is Jaime Jarrín, and I will argue this, and I know that you Vin Scully worshipers will say Vin is the GOAT, but for me, Jarrín is right there next to him. I mean...
and I'm sorry to interrupt, and I know we were supposed to have 15 minutes, we're already on 30. Again, I'm here all day, guys. For those who don't listen, for those who don't understand what Jaime has done and how hard I talk about the credit, right, for the players that paved the way for Albert to hit 700. The first couple of seasons of Jaime Jarrín, if you listen to Jaime in Espanol and you understand what he's saying, you will hear a lot of Vin-isms, stuff that Vin used to like. ¿Qué tal, amables amigos? Recibo un abrazo donde quiera que se encuentren. Los saludamos desde Dodger Stadium. Yo soy Jaime Jarrín y bienvenidos al béisbol de los Dodgers. There you go. That's what he says. Vin Scully. Hello, everyone, and have a good evening, wherever you may be. This is Vin Scully from Dodger Stadium. Same thing, different language. Why? Because when Jaime started, El Maestro started, he was in a studio somewhere in L.A. listening to Vin Scully call the game. Because there was no phone, there was no TV, there was nothing like that. It was radio. So Jaime would listen to Vin. And then 5, 10, 15 seconds, he will repeat what Vin said because Jaime wasn't there. And that's the way he did it the few first seasons. He told me this story. Until Vin Scully walked up to the O'Malley's office and said, hey, this is a disservice not only to Jaime, but to the Latinos in LA that you want to bring to the stadium. So this man needs to go on the road. So to have Vin walk into the owner's office, say, hey, we need to take this guy on the road, it would be like somebody, it would be like somebody from the Cardinals broadcast team or TV or whatever, walk into the owner's office and say, hey, why is Polo not on the road chasing 700 with us? That moment for Jaime changed everything. And it changed everything to this day. So I know what you're saying, and I asked this question 10, 12 years ago. there's only so much we can do as fans, and there's a lot we can do as fans. I know that the Dodgers have a very nice going away last weekend of the season where Jaime, they're giving away a pin, which I already saw. It is really cool. But even with Vin, a bobblehead after bobblehead, and God rest his soul, with Jaime, you could do bobbleheads every day for those two, especially for Jaime, and it will never be enough. It will never be enough. Yesterday, I was driving home. I live up in Santa Barbara, and I was driving to San Diego for the game the other night for the Cardinals and the Padres, and I'm listening to Jaime, right? I'm listening to the Spanish broadcast booth, and at that moment it was Jaime, and then Pepe and Fernando. And by the way, what a great job Jose Mota is doing.
Yeah.
What a fantastic job Jose Mota is doing.
Another former Angel that the Angels don't know how to use, and the Dodgers are the ones that make him shine.
Absolutely. I mean, the monkey can come to Dodger Stadium and be a bigger monkey. He will turn into a freaking King Kong, little monkey, and I'm listening to Jaime, and he's like, "Oh yeah, mañana, tomorrow." I'm gonna say it in English, so for those who don't speak the beautiful language of Espanol. He said, "Hey, tomorrow, the Arizona's here, and on the weekend, the Cardinals are gonna be here with Albert Pujols chasing 700." And then he said something. It will be great. It will be my honor to call 700 if he hits it here. And when Jaime says that, that's pretty big. Like, I get goosebumps again. And then I was inside the Padres booth with Eduardo Ortega, a future Hall of Famer, a guy born and raised in Tijuana, Mexico, like myself. And yesterday, when he was about to hit, Carlos Hernandez, former Dodgers catcher and now Padres commentator with Eduardo, Carlos looks at him and pushes the cuff button so nobody can hear what he's saying. And Carlos told him, "Hey, if he hits it, celebrate it as if it was your home run. Celebrate it as if it was a Padre doing it." And Eduardo's like, "Yeah, that's what I'm going to do." Like, if it's not me calling that home run, who else better than a future Hall of Famer, mentor, friend, confidant of Polo, Ascencio, Eduardo Ortega, and Jaime Jarrín, mentor. I'm not even going to say friend because I cannot even fathom that. Mentor, inspiration, el maestro. I mean, hopefully, if it's not going to happen in San Luis, I hope it happens in San Diego or LA, but not in Milwaukee. Milwaukee, and bad things happen in Milwaukee. If not, just ask Dave Assay. I mean, it's insane.
No lies have been detected.
No, and the reason I say that is because we have three. Well, we had 3 in San Diego, 3 in LA, and then 2 in Milwaukee before we go for 3 in San Luis. But yeah, guys. I mean, it's fun times with the Cardinals. It's great times with the Dodgers. It's almost October, and the chase for the championship is going to be a lot of fun. And I have a feeling that once again we will meet at Chavez Ravine with moving on to the next round on the line between the Dodgers and the Cardinals. And believe me, for me, one game, I almost had a heart attack last season when you guys eliminated us.
I was going to say, have you recovered from what Chris Taylor did to you?
Let me tell you a quick funny story. You don't have stories for everything. That day, I mean, I loved everything, right? The atmosphere, Dodger Stadium, my family being there, me as a Cardinal. I told my wife and my kids, "Hey, whatever you do, you're going to the game, right? Do not wear Cardinals gear because Dodger fans. Yeah. We know Dodger fans, right? We can be a little rowdy at times, or they can be I used to be rowdy at that. Now I'm not because I'm not a Dodger fan anymore. That's why I'm wearing a. Hey, Ozzie Smith, go crazy, folks.
Oh, man. You might. Why didn't you just wear a Jack Clark jersey while you're at it coming on the show?
Hey, because I don't like him. He was a Giant. So what happened? So that happens, right? And Chris Taylor with the little ting, 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 bam! I'm like, dang. I remember clearly. I said, there's en español, batazo elevado, jardín izquierdo, la pelota se fue. Ganan los Dodgers, se acabó el juego, vamos a la pausa. Boom, that's all I said. and then I did this with my computer. I went like this, plop. I closed it, put my stuff away. Post-game show didn't matter anymore because we were out. And about a month later, I get my bag where I have all my stuff, and I was going to use my computer. So I opened my computer, and what's in my computer? The freaking game. Like when I closed it, it froze. So when I opened it, I see the little game day thing on MLB. I see Chris Taylor hitting a home run. I'm like, thank you, baseball gods, for reminding me that baseball is it's a fickle game. That's why, yeah. But yeah.
So I wanted to ask Polo before we set you loose. Polo Ascencio joining us here for a few moments. Play-by-play guy for the St. Louis Cardinals, Espanol play-by-play guy. Ollie Marmol has I feel like kind of changed the culture a little bit. Not to say that the culture was bad there. There was a lot of moving parts over the last couple of years, but Ollie is showing kind of folks that he's a real one. He's protecting guys, and he's said some shit to some umpires, and like some of that shit that you probably shouldn't say.
Hey, he still owes me because Ollie, obviously, I love him.
Yeah,
he's great. He's great for baseball. He's great with me. And if you're great with me, it doesn't matter if you're bad with baseball. No, I'm kidding. He's like a lot of us, or not me, because I was born and raised in Mexico and lived here. He's like a lot of people watching right now, and this is not a knock on anybody, that he was born in a Latino household, and the Spanish was not. It was pushed, and he speaks Spanish, but a lot of English, especially in school. When you go to middle school, high school, college, obviously your Spanish kind of like fades away because you're always speaking English. And at the beginning of the season, I told him, hey, Ollie, Oliver, yo le digo Oliver. Okay, Oliver, I need you at least once a homestand to do something in Spanish for me. Can you do that? And he's like, yeah, we can do it. Okay. So after a few, he's like, Polo, I'm having a hard time. I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm like, look, I'm not here to gotcha. I'm here to help you. And I'm here for you to help me. So we can do an interview. If you don't like it, we can do it again. Nobody's here with us. Like, I go in this, being part of the Cardinals radio, I have 5 minutes or as many minutes as he can give me alone with him in his office with the door closed, where a lot of things are discussed besides the actual interview. Like, the very important topic of, do you put ketchup on your eggs for breakfast?
Man.
He said no. I said yes. I'm like, come on. But anyway, so he tells me, he's like, hey, I don't feel comfortable. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. I'm never gonna put out there something that is not, you don't feel comfortable with. And kid you not, we've done a few. The last time he saw me in San Diego, he's like, hey, Polo, we didn't talk today, because again, and now I get him. The first game of every series, right? At the beginning, it was the first game of every homestand. We're ramping it up to the point where now he sees me, like, Polo, sigues tú. Polo, sigues tú. He's so comfortable doing this. He's so comfortable doing Spanish, and he has embraced the responsibility of being a Latino in baseball, and not only that, but being the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. And nothing against anybody else.
Yeah.
But being the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, it's a big deal. Being the manager of the Dodgers, the Yankees, the big franchises that moved and changed something in life, right? And those franchises have that stigma, have the championships. Hello, San Diego, what up? That's something different. It just hits you a little different.
Yeah.
And he has embraced it. He's done a great job. And dude, he is younger than three of our superstars: Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, and Adam Wainwright.
He's younger than me.
He's younger than all of us, bro.
Yeah. No, and the reason I asked that again, he's not. You have the superstars, right? You have Goldie, you have Nolan, you have Yadi, you have Pujols, you have a murderer's row of guys. But the guy that stuck out to me all year is Ollie, just because the way that he's gone about it, the way that he's kind of turned it around, and now playoff contender, sending Albert Pujols and Yadi off in the right way. Good for you guys for many years to come. Hopefully, he'll be there for a long time. Hey,
and like you said, with Goldie, with Arenado, with Tommy Edman, the young guys like Brandon Donovan, the guys coming up with Nolan Gorman, with Dylan Carlson. I mean, it looks good. It looks really good. The future looks really good. in San Luis, and I think there's going to be a lot of good baseball played in the future there. And who knows? Maybe those rivalries, Dodgers, Cardinals, Dodgers in the playoffs, come back to life. I mean, it started last season, and hopefully this year continues, and for the future, why not? I mean, when you see there's logos and uniforms that you see and you immediately feel respect. You can hate all you want, but there's some logos and uniforms in baseball and sports that you see them, like the Celtics and the Lakers. I'm not a Laker fan, but I respect the purple and gold and the Celtics too. When you see them, you're like, damn, that's cool. Damn, those damn Cardinals again, those damn Yankees, those damn Boston Red Sox, those Dodgers, It's not like you see Caca Brown in yellow. It's like, whatever, nobody cares, But yeah.
I like every time that you've had a chance to get in a jab against them, you've gone forward. Well done, sir. Well done.
Against who? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, and I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with two things.
Stay classy, Santiago.
So I had said earlier in the season, as we were kind of, approaching this postseason run where they're at now, that I don't want any piece of the Cardinals and I don't want any piece of the Bravos. That still stands today. I don't want any piece of the Cardinals and I don't want any piece of the Bravos. But it looks like that's probably at some point those are going to come to a head. And then my counterpart here, Juan Ramirez, was adamant that Albert Pujols was not going to hit 700 home runs. Hey, bro, he's 2 away, and I told you he's got nothing to lose because this is it. This is it.
Yeah, but I don't know what happened at the All-Star game. Again, it was at Dodger Stadium. So maybe he went to the palenque out in right field or left field, and they gave him something. But since the All-Star break, that guy, Polo, dime la verdad. Before the All-Star break, did you think he was going to get to 700?
At the beginning of the season, yes.
Uh-huh.
When he signed, let's go. Then, okay, this is what happened. He started slow because he was not playing.
Okay.
Right? If it's like you guys, all of us. Let's go to the gym once a month. Ain't gonna happen.
No chance.
If you go to the gym 3-4 times a week, vamos a estar bien papacitos acá. ¿Qué pasó? William Levy and shit. So that's what happened here. The guy was not playing. Four at-bats here, 4 at-bats there. 1 at-bat off the bench against the lefty. I don't care who you are. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
The guy started playing. The guy started hitting. The guy started showing better discipline and better at bats than a lot of the choices that were there as DH. And that's what he made his own opportunity. Like when he signed with the Cardinals, he knew there was a plan. Hey, you're not gonna play every day. We're gonna play you here and there. Are you okay with it? Yeah, let's go. Then baseball tells you a different story. You start doing this, you start doing that, you start going. Next thing you know, you're a superstar. I mean, the Dodgers, right? He's not a superstar maybe on the field because his numbers don't say that, but he is a superstar in the clubhouse. And you guys had him, Hansel Alberto.
Yeah.
Without Hansel Alberto, the Dodgers are not the Dodgers right now.
That's just
And the guy, he's hitting, I don't know the numbers. I haven't looked, like 250 or something maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
He comes to pitch every so often. It's like, that's he even said, put me to pitch against Albert, I'll gladly put one for the home run.
Yeah.
So when you have characters like that in your clubhouse, that changes a lot, right?
Yeah.
That changes a lot. And with Albert, he started hitting, he started having fun, and the young guys that he was mentoring, the Lars Nootbaar, the Juan Yepes, the Brendan Donovan, and everybody else in the clubhouse started having fun. Next thing you know, they even have a freaking wooden pepper grinder this big. It's crazy how a little fun can reflect on the scoreboard and when you're hitting, because baseball is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
If you don't have fun while working in baseball, while playing baseball, while calling a game of baseball, then let somebody else that wants to have fun and project that to the fans. And that's what's happening in San Luis right now. I mean, right now it's a little, they've been slow hitting lately, but we have a couple of weeks to get it back in track. And it happens, it's a long season. Luckily, the Brewers, they just deflated. And the Cardinals took advantage. Yeah, what Albert is doing, it's not unbelievable, it's not unimaginable, it's legendary, and legendary doesn't come around often. So,
No.
Dodger fans, if you have a chance to go this weekend, go see Albert, clap for him, cheer for him, boo him, throw whatever you want at him, but don't miss the chance to see one of the greatest hitters in the history of the game before he retires. I know you saw him last year, but see it again. And the other one, guys, don't forget, behind the plate for the Cardinals, Albert is doing such crazy things that nobody's talking about Yadi and Molina. And I know he's having a down season for Yadi, but what Yadi has done, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Nine gold gloves, platinum gloves, all that energy. Like, show me another catcher right now that can do that. Yeah, you have the young guys hitting the ball and killing the ball. What about catching the ball? What about throwing to second? Yes, I know people don't steal, but what about that? Let's not forget about that part of the game. And what Yadi has done over the years, just like what Albert is doing, we're not going to see that. So anybody who says that Yadier Molina is not a Hall of Famer, I have a finger for you, but I'm not going to point it because I don't want any trouble.
Well, and well said, Polo. If you're not following him, go follow him. Polo's View on Instagram, great follow. I follow him there, and on Twitter at Polo Ascencio, great follows. He is fun, and baseball is supposed to be fun, and we advocate that too. So Polo, thank you for stopping by for a few minutes, and let's do it again because we could talk about Yadier Molina for like an hour too.
Dude, we can talk about anything you want. I mean, this is the longest 15 minutes of my life.
Polo, ya sabes, we'll do it again. Thank you again, and we'll catch you down the road.
See you at Chavez Ravine this weekend, man. It's gonna be fun.
All right.
There you have it, Polo Ascencio. Go follow him. You know what? He is the Mexican Charlie Murphy. You're muted.
Who?
Juan.
I am.
Oh.
I was saying Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, Charlie Murphy. He's a great follow. So listen, we're up against it because the Dodger game's about to start, and we don't want to disrespect our friends at Sportsnet LA. So should we do predictions real quick, and then there's something else we have to talk about. I forgot what it is. Forgive me.
Well, before we go into it, I just want to mention it because Maury Wills passed away.
That's what it was.
It has been a rough season for the Dodgers off the field. I mean, Maury Wills, Vin Scully, Don Sutton, Mike Brito. I mean, it's you know what's interesting is obviously Maury Wills I didn't grow up watching Maury Wills. So it did not have the same effect on me as the Vin Scully death did. But I'm sure there's a lot of older Dodger fans that were probably, hurt today. Or was it today or was it the other? When did Maury Will?
He passed away yesterday, I believe.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
No, I mean, the master of the stolen base, right? Like if there's one thing you know about the historical element of baseball, you don't forget that sort of stuff. Obviously, I was way too young to have seen him play, but you hear the lore, and again, another legend gone. Alicia?
I too I didn't grow up watching Maury Wills, but my father definitely, I knew of him and his greatness because he's Maury Wills, right? If you are a generational Dodger fan, someone in your family talked about and knew and revered Maury Wills. So much love and prayers to his family. It's still someone's father, son, the sons and daughters hurting. I will say this is pretty cool. A little story. When I arrived in the Dallas, or I think it was Fort Worth, I arrived at the airport for the Dodgers 2020 World Series, and we had our Dodger gear on. And we're waiting for our luggage because I'm a female and I pack a lot. So I'm waiting for my luggage, and someone walked over, and this gentleman started chatting us up, and he's like, "Do you need a ride to your hotel?" Just a super nice guy. And no, he wasn't being creepy baby. There were men in our group. Well, I come to find out he was Maury Will's best friend growing up. So he loved the Dodgers and wanted to show his Dallas hospitality and offered to give us all a ride in his truck to our hotel. So I thought that was pretty cool. He was like, Maury Wills, like just all this love for Maury Wills. And that's the closest interaction I've ever had with. I never got to interview him, anything like that. So, but he is so loved and he will be missed. And now the Dodgers will wear another patch in his honor.
Babyface.
Yes, so Maury's just the type of player that you don't see anymore. The guy that bunt for a hit, you'd steal a base. You don't see that type of player anymore. So that's and he was still hoping to get into the Hall of Fame, and I think he will probably eventually get into the Hall of Fame. Sadly he's not with us anymore, but yeah, he's one of those guys that you don't see players like that anymore that kind of just can change the game just by putting a bunt and stealing some bases. So just another Dodgers loss, another one of their great Dodger player from their history. So respect to Maury and his family, and he will be missed.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Golden Era Committee, I think it was either 2014, 2015. I do remember this. He only missed by 3 votes. So by that much, he didn't get
Did
it.
Ted Williams screw him over too?
So
another one into the Fight Club for Juan Ramirez.
So real quick before we do our picks too, we also want to announce we're going to be doing watch parties.
That's the thing I was thinking about.
So you guys will be seeing a link. So basically, what you want to do is just go ahead and create an account. It's a free account. Basically, just go and sign up and create your account. And basically, what it's going to ask you is, however you watch the Dodger games, there'll be a link on there to put your TV provider. And so if you watch it on Sportsnet, DirecTV, MLB TV, just kind of put in those login credentials so you're logged in. And then basically when we announce a watch party, it'll kind of be like this setup. We'll come in, we'll be talking with you
virtual.
guys.
It's a virtual.
Yeah, so you'll actually see the game. So like where you're seeing here us.
We'll all watch it together.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
We'll be watching the game. So you'll be able to chat, interact with us. If we have any guests by any chance, we could chat and interact with them as well. So we'll be able to do that.
And we will have giveaways.
Yes, we'll have giveaways, and then you'll be able to roast Juan Ramirez to his face.
So maybe we'll do, like a test run maybe next week, and for sure we'll get going for the playoffs for that.
Yes, yeah, we will. And apologies, I'm not an insensitive piece of shit. There's just a lot of stuff going on here right now, and we're up against the time because of the Dodgers. So I apologize. But we didn't do we didn't do picks last week, right? Because
no,
we didn't do live. So can we call it 0-0? Because I don't want anyone to gloat.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we'll pick for the series starting Friday. We'll go from there.
But we have to give Babyface his due.
No, we don't.
Because all of a sudden Babyface is on a streak. So we didn't acknowledge that he and Alonso won the last time we did picks.
And that tells you how good of a person I am. Because
I told Alonso he was going to win because he was picking with me again. So.
Wow. The crazy thing is Alicia had the same picks as you guys did,
and
she changed it at the last minute. Yeah. If she wouldn't have changed, Alicia would be in the lead right now.
She would.
So here's the update on the standings. Alicia has 7. Alonso now has 7. I have 7. We have a 3-way tie for first place. Not that many games left. No. Roger, all of a sudden, Babyface has 6 points. Babyface is 1 point away from making this a 4-way tie, and our listeners have 4 points. So, listeners, those of you that are on the live right now, please go ahead. We're doing 6 games. We're doing the 3 games versus the Cardinals this weekend, and then the 3 games versus the show pods next week. So, ladies first, Alicia.
So, St. Louis from Friday on is 3, and then in the middle of the week they are in Arizona, right?
No, they're in San Diego.
San Diego.
I'm sorry, San Diego. I'm tired. So 3, 3, 6. I'm so confused because it's the end, and they're a machine, and it's like they have to try to lose. They're so good. Let's go 4-2.
All right. Alonso?
By the way, for those of you that joined us on the live and interacted, thank you. I know it's been a weird episode this go around. Shout out to Philip Lopez for pointing out that Juan was looking at a mirror talking to Tom.
Yeah.
By the way, this was just a complete Dodger Cardinals episode.
It was.
I just
It
want
totally-
to point that out. I had no clue.
The unexpected Jack Clark references were fucking great. I didn't expect that, but it happened.
Yeah, that is true.
Just love that you could join the podcast and like it's like therapy for some of you. So I hope along with Juan, you all got a little reprieve if you're tormented by 1985 like Juan is. Like
I feel like
let
Juan
it go.
took 2 steps forward and then took
Let it
like
go.
6 back.
No, honestly though, to tell you the truth, I mean, like I said, I didn't know those numbers. And
Right.
looking at that guy, because I'm sure, I mean, if it happened now, he probably would have gotten more shit that he did back in 1985.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm sure that guy got a lot of crap. And look, I know it was unjustified, but that is my first memory.
Yeah.
It's not the Dodgers winning winning the World Series. My first memory is it's fucking Jack Clark hitting that home run and Pedro Guerrero throwing his glove.
I'm gonna throw a battery at you next time I see you.
That's my memory, and that's what makes me realize that any minute something horrible can happen.
Like getting a battery thrown at you next time I see you.
So then we should thank Tom Niedenfuer.
We should. Yes. Shout out to Tom Niedenfuer.
Wrapping his arms around little Juanito and saying it's all right.
I'm going 4-2 as well.
Let it-
Yeah,
Okay, you're going 4-2.
As an homage to Let It Go, I'm going 4-2.
All right.
So it's gonna be 4-2 across the board. And one thing
No,
I noticed,
we don't know Juan's. We don't know Juan's because
real
years
quick-
of abuse.
Are you gonna go 4-2?
yeah, I'm gonna go
Babyface?
4-2. Yeah.
All right.
And
So
but real quick. Next time we get Tom, I gotta ask him. Did you see how he spelled his name? There was an E at the end of his name.
I didn't know. I was actually going to
There
ask
is
if
no
that's how it's
E.
spelled.
There is no E anywhere else on his uniform in his stats. So like, did they spell his name wrong?
No
And he just
wonder
never-
he's so pissed.
yeah.
They've been
That's
spelling
the
his
thing we
Way,
name
gotta
wrong.
way to
ask him.
make it awkward. Way to make
Yeah.
it awkward. Now they're gonna be
didn't
like,
fit on his jersey. There was
And
no room for it.
Now I understand. Now I understand why Tom's so stoic when people are just giving him the bird as he's walking about. He said, "Fuck you, my name was wrong this
Good
entire
dude.
time."
He's a good sport.
No,
man.
he's a great sport. I do like how he was just so direct with Juan. Now,
exactly. He was. He totally.
He had a no card. He was
did.
ready for
was
it.
ready.
Like, let me just break down some numbers right here.
you didn't even
Look.
know what was coming like the Astros, Juan.
So here's the thing, right? I could play it safe and go 4-2 like you guys.
Oh boy.
Because the thing is this, after this week, we're only going to have one last week, and that's going to be winner take all. I mean, we have a 3-way tie right now. If I go in a different direction, I could be the odd man out. So I don't know, man. It's just really hard because I feel like these guys aren't even trying to win games, and they're winning.
Yeah.
They're a machine.
But they are playing two teams that are still playing for something. Because the Cardinals have not clinched yet, and the Show Pods, literally, the Show Pods can beat people. They just can't beat the Dodgers.
No, they can't. And I mean, it's a push at this point. I mean, they're playing for a wild card, right?
Give
at
us
the
your
same time-
numbers, Juan. Stop
Yeah,
making us
give us the
wait.
numbers
Ah.
instead of hedging your bets, sir.
You know what? Because I'm not scared, I'm going to go 3-3.
Oh, okay.
I was feeling a 3-3 from you.
I was actually thinking you were going to go opposite. 2-4 is what I was thinking. You were gonna do.
No. And the reason why I didn't go 2-4 is because I'm telling you, I mean, they play super sloppy, and then they came back and they won the first game of the doubleheader yesterday.
They want to win. It's just in them.
It's,
Look
I
at
mean, bro,
Oscar
they
Azul's comment.
didn't even try. They
That's what
didn't
I'm
even
saying.
try. That's the scary thing. They didn't even try. That was the only thing I wanted to push back on Tom on, but I was like, you know what? You get shit on a lot, Tom, so I'm not going to push back on you on disrespecting Julio Urias and Tyler Anderson is the lack of aces because they are aces.
Well, Oscar Basulto joining us on the live here. He just came on here because he wants to win a Prince of Darkness mask for Halloween.
And that would win any scary contest if
Yeah.
to answer anything.
The-
You know what it is?
Prince of Darkness.
It's just Juan dressed in Raiders garb. That's all it is.
Oh,
No, you guys were really, really quiet when Niedenfuer was talking about how the Mets scare him. I didn't hear any of you guys chime,
Again.
especially you, babyface. I didn't hear you go, "Oh, the Mets." Everybody's
Again.
talking about how great the Mets are.
What did
I
I,
have-
say? I said you and Juan are like this.
Like, yeah, she did. The reason I didn't push back on Tom, he gets shit on a lot, and I don't want to shit on him any more than he needs to be shit on.
Who would have known that Tom Niedenfuer was my Spider-Man meme?
Right?
Who knew that Tom Niedenfuer was your service animal? I mean, that's
right, exactly.
That's what it came. That's what it amounted to. He was able to cathartically get you over the hump. Tom, in all seriousness, Tom, all jest aside, you're a great sport. Thank you for joining us, man, and I hope to have you on.
And like we always say, you never know who's going to show up to the Carne Asada. And I mean, Juan didn't even know who was showing up today. So.
Yeah, they
part of this show.
They kept me out of the loop on this one, folks. So
if you're
that
watching,
was genuine.
If you're watching, we have the I forget what the thing is called that goes across. Alicia, what's the technical term again?
It's the Chiron, right? Or the ticker? No, the ticker. We decided the ticker.
The ticker.
The Chiron is the static one.
That's right. The ticker has all of our Instagram handles and Twitter handles. Go follow us. And thank you guys for joining us. Those of you that joined us engaging with
and
the
subscribe
comment.
on YouTube.
And subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe to that link that we're going to put out that I forgot the damn name about already. Playback, I think, is the name. I'm terrible at this. and a huge thanks to Believe, the Believe Network for carrying all the stuff, putting all the stuff. They put out a nice post yesterday about our 100th episode. If you don't know, we put out a 100th episode with Stan Kasten, where the positive man himself, Juan, and I and Alicia all talked to Mr. Kasten, so go check that out. But thank you to BetOnline for presenting this week's episode. If you head on over to their website today and use our promo code, which is Believe50, BLEAV50, you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Maybe you should go bet online, Juan, about how you're feeling about your predictions there. Let's put your money with them.
I know, right? I'm going to use my promo code that I get from Believe.
There you go. So you should do that. Thanks to them. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Polo Ascencio for stopping by too. As always, we couldn't get him to stop for 15 minutes, so it worked out. It worked out for everyone. But we will catch you down the road, and go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers.